Welcome to Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast. I'm your host, Dave West, codename Phantom Troublemaker.
And I am your co-host, Noel Wood, codename Crapshoot.
And I'm your Cobra intern that has to figure out how to offload 500 Cold Slather t-shirts. Codename Legion Cub.
I gotta say, that intro, that Noel, that picture of you, I think is my favorite picture of you because you look so thoughtful and serious, like gazing. You're really in character in that image.
I want to say, so my friend Johnny who took that picture, like he caught that completely candidly. So like we were doing a photo shoot at the Yorktown in South Carolina in Charleston. And, you know, everything else is posed. But he was like, I got this really good shot of you while you weren't even paying attention. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's a pretty good picture.
It's great. It's my second favorite picture of you.
Well,
my favorite picture is actually this one. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have it. I won't share it here. Everybody will just have to wonder.
We'll get pulled off of YouTube for that one anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I can recreate. Never mind. I recreated the Rattler shot a couple weeks ago.
Follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Give us a like here. And actually, before I forget, one of the best ways you can support this show, if you're following Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram, the days where we're posting about going live or our now back to posts, any of those posts, repost them, share them, add them to your stories. Let people know. Like that's the easiest and best way to support us is to spread the word on your own Instagrams. Because I see everybody sharing like, you know, the same. Where is it? Did I leave it in here or did I take it out? Everybody's sharing the same 10 toy photography pictures every day. Share an Audible Interlude episode. Let the people know what's going on here. So yeah, and then in the mornings, whenever, share a sound off. A couple of people reposted the sound off this morning. I appreciated that. And it might have gotten us a little more input because obviously there's not really much news. So we got some good sound offs for tonight too. So yeah, be sure you're sharing those socials. And Instagram now has a feature where you just press a button and it does a repost. You don't have to have a separate app or anything. So it's very, very easy. Help us out. Do it. You're watching the Needless Things YouTube channel. Last week, I reviewed Breaker, Retro Flint, Televiper, and CoverGirl. Those reviews are all available right now. Tomorrow, my review of this guy goes up. Great figure with some ass accessories. So watch the review for more details on that. But this, I mean, we all recognize this terrible backpack. That's one of them.
I thought you meant like he comes with an ass.
Well, I mean, he does, but I'll talk about that. Not that Noel would know or care. But anyway, that review goes up. Yeah.
Rekship85 wants to know, so what's the difference between reposting it and sharing it?
Reposting is literally like a little button. Well, previously on Instagram, the only way to repost was to have an outside app. You couldn't just hit a button and repost like you can on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. But now, I mean, there's not really a difference between reposting and sharing. Rekship, are you really asking me questions about Instagram? I feel like it's your medium. So anyway, there's a little button now. And if you see a post and you're like, I would like other people to see this, you hit that little button with the little swirl on it or whatever it is. And it will share that post to everybody that follows you. And we would appreciate it. Let's see. Pop Brett White's up there, if you don't mind. No,
well, first, he said, I slid off his thigh holster so he looks like the 90s figure because that rifle holster is bizarre.
So I had said from the start when they showed this figure that I thought I'd probably take off those thigh pieces anyway. And then once I got it and I looked at it, I was like, no, you know what? This looks pretty cool. I'll probably leave them on there. And then that holster is terrible. I think it's the single worst, like, add-on piece or whatever you call them, layer that's been done in classified. It doesn't work. It doesn't, like, I don't get it. I don't understand how that works at all.
So if Snake Eyes takes off his thigh holster and throws it into the break room and someone catches it, are they the next to get a retro figure?
No, they're the next to get blown up by a helicopter.
Mm.
So nobody wants to catch that at all. All right. So anyway, Needless Things YouTube channel. Tomorrow, my review of that Snake Eyes goes up. Mixed bag. And then the rest of the week, I got some other stuff. And as more Joe things come in, I mean, I got to think Monkey Wrench, Battle Armor, Cobra Commander, and what's the other one in this wave?
Yeah, I saw some pictures of them in the wild. It was the Cobra Commander. Now I'm trying to remember who else it was.
Yeah, whatever the other one is. You guys all know. And then also potentially Crystal Ball and the two-pack.
Major Blood.
Major Blood, that's right.
I think it was Frag Viper.
No, it's Major Blood. Frag Viper's already out.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I've got him. Speaking of I've got him, I stopped at 2 Walmarts on the way home today because I have seen people finding the new display with Crystal Ball and the Night Force 2-pack, and I didn't find anything, so I'll keep looking.
I've been to 2 Walmarts, and they don't even have like space for any G.I. Joe in either one of them. Never mind. They had one peg that had 6 retro Cobra Commanders on it, and that was it.
Wow. Mine has Blowtorch warming 2 pegs.
Oh, that's surprising.
Mm-hmm. But the new display thing, like they did their remodel of the toy aisle.
I haven't even seen that yet.
There's no display.
Since Saturday, I've been to 5 different Walmarts, and none of them even have the display thing up and don't have anything new. Well, they don't have new. This is funny. So you may see this table behind me. It's covered in wrestling figures. These are ones that I'm selling. For years, Walmart is not getting. These are all super centers. We're outside of Atlanta, pal. So for years, the Walmarts around me don't get the cubes of WWE like figures for WrestleMania, SummerSlam, whatever. They just don't get them. I don't know why. But now the one in Snellville, for the first time in Italy since the pandemic, got in the SummerSlam cube. Now that I'm packing them all up and selling them off. And I'm like, well, of course it did.
Of course.
Why wouldn't it? All right, let's see. Shirts. We have shirts. Go to Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. Go to the pinned stories, and you will find a link to our TeePublic store. We have a variety of shirts, phone cases, mugs, probably a mouse pad. You can get yourself a nice mouse pad, maybe. I don't know. Wait for a sale. Go buy some stuff. We don't care about the money. We care about people advertising for Audible Interlude. Our next live stream is Thursday night. Huh? So this is kind of wild. I realized I'm off on Friday because it's my short work week. So I told the guys, I was like, well, hey, I know you guys may not be available, but we might be able to do a countdown because we did a countdown for the Sky Striker. I think we did one for the Hiss, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
And we did one for the Dragonfly. But with this one ending on a Thursday, I really hadn't thought about us being able to do it because I have to work every other Friday, and you guys' schedules are crazy. But it just so happens we're all available Thursday night to get on at 11 p.m. and talk until midnight when this thing ends. So we will be doing a live countdown for the Snowcat HasLab, which, by the way, does anybody have it pulled up? I forgot to pull it up before we went on.
Yeah, I've got it up right now.
Where are we?
as of this moment, unless the refresh changes it. Oh yeah, it did by 8,770 backers.
Okay.
Woo!
So obviously at this point, we all kind of have to readjust our estimates. I believe my original was just shy of 20, and then I adjusted down to maybe 18. But what do you guys think? Do we hit all the tiers? We got 3 days left.
Well, we've gotten 1,000 in just the last like 3 days.
It is moving faster.
Yeah.
Maybe all those people that canceled their orders because of Cold Slither have seen that Cold Slither is still up for pre-order on
Right,
Hasbro
they've got
Pulse.
it. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure we get Lady J without a doubt at this point.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But I don't know, because we always expect that big push at the end, but the last couple of them really haven't done it.
Not in the same way.
When I was doing my research just to look, really I was wanting to look at like promotion material and the timing. And with the Dragonfly, we had actually only had the 2 tiers unlocked. The 3rd tier didn't unlock until after they announced that they were extending the I was getting ready to say live sale, extending the HasLab by 24 hours. And then in the last 18 hours, the 3rd one funded. But I don't think we're going to get that lucky because we haven't even, we're this close and we haven't unlocked Lady J yet. So
Right.
I think we're getting her. And
it'll be interesting to see. It'll also be interesting to see if they, for some reason, extend it. And unfortunately, and I don't know how much crossover there realistically is, but my issue is I want that Mask Series 1 that's going to be charging any day now, and then the Snake Layer, which I acknowledge is very expensive for what it is, but now I want it more than ever. We'll get into that later in the show. And the early bird for that ends on Thursday. And that charges you when you back it, as opposed to waiting for it's really dumb. The Mattel Creations ones charge you when you back it, and then if they don't fund, they refund you, which I don't care for.
Pull up Blitz's comment there, because that's actually probably not.
That's a good point.
There's a ton of people still waiting on their Rattlers.
Those missing Rattlers need to land in hands so the disgruntled Rattler list people flip to backing again.
Yeah, because I'm wondering if that's frustrating some people.
Yeah, that's
I didn't realize that people still hadn't gotten them. That's crazy.
Like a new post goes up every day on Reddit saying like, anybody still missing their Rattler? Pennsylvania here, and it's
normally. I like to sort of poo-poo things like that, but I'll tell you right now, I get this one. I understand people being salty with, and look, again, going back to what I said a couple weeks ago, that this is not the people who work for Hasbro's fault. This is Hasbro's fault for firing and laying off so many people. I don't believe any HasLab has taken this long to ship. And if I had to guess, I would say it's because they're so severely understaffed. They're doing. My personal guess is that a lot of the bad business practices we're seeing right now, from the failure to update the Snowcat very well, to the horrible problems with the Hasbro Pulse website, to how long it's taking to ship the Rattler, is because of all these cuts that Hasbro made for whatever reasons they made them.
I would agree wholeheartedly.
No, there's no throw up Silent Interlude, if you would. There's no excuse for shipping them so spread out.
Yeah.
You're right. There is no excuse. There's a reason, but there's no excuse. I agree with that.
Because, we talked that last time about with the HasLabs, not getting as many like work in progress photos as we do with say like call sign Longbow, like most Kickstarters.
Yeah,
But when I was looking at the Dragonfly and the Hiss tank, we had work in progress photos of Wild Bill before the funding had ended.
but between, I think the general consensus is between when it funds and when it's delivered, Hasbro doesn't do nearly the kind of updating that other crowdfunds do, because if you go look at call sign Longbow or like Skeleletron or whatever, they're updating at least monthly.
Yeah, we were getting updates. Now, granted, I didn't back the Rattler, so I didn't look as much into it. The Hiss tank was surprisingly hard to still find stuff out there. But it seemed like we were getting updates, then it funded, and then crickets about it.
No, that's what happened.
Until the unboxing.
Once they know, the smaller independent creators understand that they need to build trust, and building trust goes through years of communication. Hasbro knows once they've got your money, and look, this is, this is corporate America. This is how things are. Hasbro knows once they've got your money, what are you going to do? They don't care. And they don't have to care, because they're one of these big corporations. Look, I don't want to go down this road. We need to move on. Check us out. Matter of fact, we need to save some of this for Thursday night, or else we're going to have an hour of crickets.
Good point.
So let's save any more Snowcat talk for Thursday night, and move on to our next live stream. We're not even out of housekeeping yet. Our next live stream, which is going to be on August 25th. Tell your friends, put it on your calendar, tune in, and we'll see. We'll have follow-up for the Snowcat, and who knows what else might have happened between now and then. And of course, you also want to catch us live at Dragon Con Special Mission 1985. We will be doing a panel there. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. We like to be very interactive. We like to bring itty bitty ditty bags to hand out to people who participate in the panel or who are wearing Audible Interlude merch. Anybody wearing a costume, we'll have a special button for you. Somebody please make a note of that so I remember to make those special buttons.
I also have a limited number of very special ribbons for people that come to our panel. I haven't decided yet if they're going to go to people in costume. Definitely, if you're wearing Audible Interlude apparel,
that's always the number one. That's the number one. You will
always get one for that.
Second only to cosplaying as one of the hosts of Audible Interlude. That might get you.
No, right. I don't even want that. Please do not. Unless you're JJ shoulder height and you have somebody standing on your shoulders to cosplay as me, in which case, please do bring that in here. Like little kids trying to get into the movie theater, then that's fine. Please do that. All right. I think that's all the business we need to handle. Oh, no, wait. We've got one more, because I need to share the link to Audible Army on Facebook. It is our community. It is where we hang out, talk about the shows, talk about news when we're not doing live streams. Let me get a link and post it in the chat. Why does it take 5 button presses to do this? So I'm putting it in the chat right now. A link if you want to join the Audible Army Facebook group, if you're watching us live on the Needless Things YouTube channel. If you are not watching us live, you can send your email address to Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. Give us a message with your email address, and we'll add you to the group. We have fun there. It's a good time. It's a good place to be a G.I. Joe fan. All right. What else have we got going on here? I already used toy photography. Man, we hit toy photography fast this episode, didn't we? All right. Follow up. So we got to talk a little bit. People have been finding we already talked about it, really, the new displays at Walmart that are, it's weird to me. in the G.I. Joe display, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the first wave of retro cardback figures, which are like a year old now, right? I'm talking about the little diorama display up on the top of the shelf.
Right.
It's Duke, Scarlet, and Recondo, isn't it?
Oh, see, I thought, hang on, I'm going to look at the ones that my friend Wes sent because his Walmart has them, as opposed to, of course.
Like, I was thinking it was older figures, but what's showing up in the display is Law and Order, Night Force, Quick Kick, and Beachhead, Crystal Ball, and then some of the retro figures, but I don't know. Oh, here we go. Of course. Here, while you're looking at that, I'll throw Rec Ship up here.
Okay.
Rec Ship says it's Recondo, Duke, Scarlet, and Cobra Trooper, but they weren't the first. But they weren't the first wave of. Well, they were the first wave of the new ones. You know what I mean? I don't consider the newest retro cardbacks to be the same product line as the Walmart exclusive retro cardbacks. To me, they're completely different.
Because those were retro, like tissue paperbacks. Essentially, they weren't even card.
Those were, and they were just different. Like Duke and Scarlet having all that new tooling to me was a very different move in that. Now we haven't seen anything as drastic as that since then, but it has been overall a pretty solid line, I feel like.
Well, I mean, Commander, but he was already released as part of the Hiss.
Yeah, but I would include him as being, since that one was so, limited in what it was. I would consider that Cobra Commander to be just as much of a splash as Duke and Scarlet.
Well, yeah,
because he was the first. He was the first mass market retail Cobra Commander that was a look people.
Yep.
Want.
Well, and the Scarlet also was sculpted for the Dragonfly. So she also was debuted in a HasLab.
Yeah, right. Good point. And as we pointed out a couple weeks ago, none of those characters from the Dragonfly, Crazy Legs and Ripcord, we still haven't seen any signs of them in the main line, which I find very interesting because Cobra Commander hit pretty shortly after the Dragonfly.
No, it was a while. They didn't, because we knew it was coming, but they
never.
The Dragonfly. We were just waiting for announcement.
When did the Dragonfly? The Dragonfly hit around this time last year, correct? Yep. Cobra Commander hit shortly after that.
Did he?
Within a few months, right? He was in the second wave of these new retro cardbacks, right? So I mean, it wasn't any later than like January, just a few months. Because he's been out for a while now. But anyway, it is. I do feel like it's been an interestingly long time with no mention of Crazy Legs or Ripcord, not even name drops.
I mean, you think at least Ripcord because they're getting out as much 82, 83, 84 stuff as possible.
Well, even now. 85 and 86, I think we're only missing a couple of characters from 85 and 86 at this point.
Yeah.
Like they've really covered a lot of time. All right. Oh, and Snowcat. We got to get into. Oh, let's do. Hang on. We'll talk about the Snowcat first, since it's really just follow up. And like, there's no point in discussing these Thursday night. We'll talk about them now. We finally got these diorama images of the Snowcat. Not shared by Pulse on Facebook or the main Pulse account, but in a shared post with Lenny, Tony, Pulse, and like 3 other accounts. So it took me a little digging to find images that don't have the stupid Instagram like extra people or tagged people or soundtrack or whatever on there. It was tough to find clean images of this, and Hasbro did not send them out. But these are great. It's exciting. I like seeing these. Especially this one on the left here. Well, it's literally the same picture, just zoomed in. But I really like the idea of showing the practicality of the way the treads move on the back. Like a little scaling up the rocks there is pretty cool. I love the Torskito shot. It's ridiculous, but it's great. I mean, it really illustrates how silly that is, but also great. I do like that. So this is interesting. On the left here, we know that. Oh, interesting. Put White Vegeta's. So Beachhead, Eel, and the Snow Serpent came out before Cobra Commander Stalker and the Cobra Trooper. Is that right?
Yeah,
I
because
guess they did. Yeah.
Wreck Ship even commented up there that Commander was towards the end of 2024.
Right. Well, that's what I was saying is
So-
I know he was out by January for sure. So he was only a few months after the Dragonfly landed. But yeah, that's right. The Commander was the third wave of these new retros.
I'm with you, Blitz. The night picks, and then he says, and the upcoming USB-C feature get me pretty excited. I saw the night pictures before I saw these, and as someone on the podcast that has been very vocal about give or take the electronics, those night pictures actually made me go, I might have to travel during the winter this year to somewhere that has snow to get some photos because it looks really good.
So I like these the sort of crate design they did for the Torpedoes, and then in the background there you can see, we were talking about, well, if that missile launcher is removable, I hope they design it so it can sit on the ground as a separate piece, and it looks like that is at least the intent. Now, whether the design will really be that, or if it's just going to be, sit it on the ground, we'll see. I love this shot on the left of just how the troop carrier portion looks with the tailgate down. I think that gives it a dimensionality that's not apparent in a lot of the photography and feature shots. And then I should have done a close-up on this one. Top middle, that does show what we pointed out weeks ago, that you can store the bivouac in one of those lockers in the back, which I think is an important feature. And then, of course, we have a bunch of shots of the stuff that we may or may not get.
Yeah. Presuming we get the bivouac,
right?
We got a place to store it.
Right. If we don't get the bivouac, then you can put Snake Eye's janky thigh holster in there. And then we've got the night shots that Kristian was referring to that really do look wonderful. Like the lights look great. The snowy, these are cool. These are important, and these should have been released much earlier than they were.
And to a wider audience than they were. Not just, they should update the Hasbro Pulse listing with this.
Yeah, they're not in the listing, because that was the first place I went when Lenny and Tony, because at first it was just Lenny and Tony sharing these on Instagram. And like I said, they had all those Instagram markings on them. So I didn't like, I don't want to share stuff with that. So first I went to Facebook Pulse, which is usually the best place to get these because it doesn't have any kind of markings, and they weren't on there. And then I was like, okay, well, surely they've added them to the campaign page, and they have not. Oh, we're not there yet. Destro, put that banana away. So anyway, these are the diorama images that were released that I think are very important to the campaign. Like I said, they should have come out weeks ago. And we'll be talking Thursday night live here on the Needless Things YouTube channel about how much impact that may or may not have had on the campaign. And with that, I think it's time to move into some news. We do actually have a little bit of news to talk about this week. First up, this is very exciting to me. This is the Hammer Files editions of G.I. Joe Real American Hero. What's exciting about this is the plurality of it, because the first announcement is G.I. Joe Real American Hero number 26, famously where we meet the Long Range Recon Patrol and get their backstory. but it's exciting that they're referring to it as something that will be ongoing. But this is the first installment. G.I. Joe Real American Hero number 26, Hamophiles edition, hits stores November 2025. Skybound and Image Comics, in collaboration with leading games, IP, and toy company Hasbro, announced the Hamophiles editions, a new program launching this fall that celebrates the most iconic issues of G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero, with insights from the man who knows them best, the legendary writer Larry Hama. Wolverine the Nom. Interesting, those mentions there. So this is very cool because it's essentially a director's commentary edition of this issue of the comic. And it's exciting. I mean, the three of us have talked to Larry Hama a few times now in various forms, and we know how much insight he has into the work that he has done. He has great recall about a lot of aspects of things that happened 40 years ago. So I'm very excited to get this. I'm in. I mean, this is, you don't even think about this, you order it.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this one. Which I still don't have the 21 actual physical copy. I need to get my hands on that.
Well, that's part of the reason why I love that files is plural.
Yes.
So that obviously the silent issue has sort of transcended just G.I. Joe and is in pop culture awareness. But now let's get some attention on some other issues, folks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's so the rest of the press release, it goes on. It's you'll see it all over the internet. There's no reason to read it here. But each issue of the Hamophiles reprints an essential issue of G.I. Joe Real American Hero, said Alex Antone, which, by the way, I've had him on the show twice. I need to get him back on to talk about this. I need to remember to send Skybound, my Skybound contact, a message. And inside each issue, a letter from the legendary Larry Hama adds fresh insight and perspective to these all-time classic comics. We can't wait for G.I. Joe fans to check them out. And if you remember, when we got the Treasury or the Omnibus, I said I own all of these a couple times over now, but if they were to reprint individual issues at the same quality as the Omnibus, I would buy those also. And this is, obviously they're not going sequentially from number one, but I'll take these. This is very exciting to me to have a new version of these issues printed in the quality of those Omnibus editions. This is great. Yeah, this is a great throw Nowhere Man-Child's comment up there. This is a great question for the chat or for anybody listening.
What are the other top Hamophiles you would want to be next?
The one, I don't remember the issue, and actually Scott may have nailed it. Whatever issue that we reviewed recently where a Cobra Commander gets murdered and like a ton of things happen in that one issue, I would love for that one.
Issue 50, isn't that closer to when Cobra Commander comes back?
I don't know. I'm not even going to pretend I can tell you off the top of my head what any of these are.
I don't know the issue number, but
50 50 is the giant size one that had the special missions preview in the back.
Okay.
But I would like to see the issue that kicks off Transformers Generation 2 when the Cobra has Megatron and they rebuild him in his tank form, because it wasn't a crossover. It was just the regular Joe series. Transformers, by that point, the popularity had died down, and I would love to hear.
It's funny to think about that, because it really wasn't that long ago that we were like, yeah, Transformers is a dead property and G.I. Joe is a little bit more serious. Things change.
So anyway, this is something to be very excited about. Hit up your local comic. The best thing you can do to support this is hit up your local comic shop, get them to order it. But of course, there are plenty of services where you can order it online, get it digitally, whatever the case may be. But for my money, I want a nice physical copy of this to open up, enjoy, to read, to put in my long box, and to have forever and ever. All right. Next up, speaking of crowdfund updates, Call Sign Longbow sent out their update at the end of July. As they shared in last month's abbreviated update, they received new samples from the factory just before Joe Fest. This month, they would like to share some better images of these figures. So right here, we are looking at Lancer, Krasny Ninja, and Uptown. New samples of the Krasny Ninja got the biggest reaction at both Joe Fest and the DFW Joe show, but all the figures are looking good and making solid progress. These look awesome.
Except I hope they don't have that rivet painted black when that figure comes out.
I think they said that that's just a temporary thing for these paint samples.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they will have matching rivets, color matching rivets when they come out. But that what they said, that Krasny Ninja in the middle is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that gold on it pops so nice. I cannot wait.
And that, like, I love O-ring style figures in that specific like color of red. The Crimson Guard.
Yeah,
back to that.
Yeah, it stands out. Like, you've got a couple of really cool looking, typical green guys, but in the middle, that red is going to pop on the shelf.
Rekship says that's clearly just a very large mole on the figure. And I was going to add that until Noel had said that, I did not notice the black rivet on his shoulder. I had only noticed it on his arm, and I thought,
that's the one.
that melanoma, get it checked out.
Well,
dude.
that's why his name is Lancer, because it needs to be lanced. And I know that's not how you handle moles, but just give me the joke. All right. Next up, Outlaw and Gruspettznas with the production ghost that many of us have in hand. It is a fantastic figure. Note that these samples, here it is. Note that these sample figures have black rivets. The production figures will have rivets painted to match the plastic color like you see on Ghost. Again, Outlaw, another one that's going to pop on the shelf. Those colors look really good and are very different. But then on the right, that Gruspettznas, while it is, a green army man figure, it's different. It has a look to it. You can see that blue and white striped T-shirt underneath,
like Red Star has.
Right, exactly. And
that was one that I didn't add because, again, like you said, typical army man. But looking at this photo, I'm like, oh, he looks a lot better.
That camo looks great.
Yeah.
The camo design is really, really cool. I mean, every one of these feels like a very unique, like its own thing, which is why it's why we were so enthusiastic about these from the start. And then last image is another one, Gruspettznas, Outlaw, Vulk, and Uptown samples without their headgear. This image shows what the figures look like without their headgear. Something we asked for here was to beef up Vulk's facial scar so it's thicker. And you can see it there going across diagonally across the face. But this shot is my favorite because it gives you a really nice close-up look at just all of the details that are on these characters. You can see that Uptown and Outlaw do share a torso, but the paint on them is so, well, they probably share more than just the torso. But this is one of those cases where those paint apps make all the difference in the world, because just looking at them, they're completely different figures.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and actually, now that I'm looking, Vulk and Gruspettznas also share bodies, but again, that paint app makes all the difference in the world, and that's one of the things I love and I've got to get these guys back on the show.
I hope this makes sense. The shape of the heads, because looking at them, they are all so different. And I'm not talking just from like the features, but just the dimensions themselves. Like I will butcher the name, but blue shirt, how did
Outlaw.
you say it? Outlaw. Oh, I was getting him confused with the one in black then. But Outlaw just looks much younger and smaller than the African American character at the end. And then your head Russian guy, not just that scar, but like his face is skinnier and like.
Oh wait, blue. You were talking about the striped blue shirt.
Yeah.
Okay, that's your, which I'm probably butchering it as well. The Gruspettznas.
Thank you. But yeah,
I was like, how does a masked guy look younger? That's weird. And then I realized we had a little mix up there. But yeah, you're right. There's so much personality just in the portraits on these that make them so different. So very excited to get these in hand and to do the reviews. I think I got one of each of the entire wave. I'm pretty sure. Next up, another crowdfund update. Skeleletron. The progress continues with factory production, and our 6-inch Wolf Trooper, Pilot Character Kit, Gyre Wolf, and Jungle Wolf Trooper are nearly ready for deployment. Very exciting. In addition, the Robo Knight Heavy Metal Armor accessory with included bonus 4-inch Robonaut kit is also nearing the finish line. They're beyond excited to have all these products shipped soon from the factory. We'll let you know as soon as these ship out. The 4-inch and 6-inch Skeletron figures are currently undergoing further mold revision to ensure all of the joints and fit are just right. And I can imagine, I mean, if you remember what those figures look like, the process of getting all of those joints to work properly, I'm sure is tedious because it's not standard issue, regular thick humanoid parts. Like the Skeletron has a very specific look, and the functionality of it, I'm sure, is a little hard to nail down. So I totally understand why those figures are taking longer than any of the other ones. As soon as those adjustments are fine-tuned, they'll be able to proceed with production and wrap things up, along with the Total Robo Skull hardcover book. But look at this heavy metal armor accessory. And what's interesting to me about this, so this snaps on to the front of the Robo Skull. It actually covers that skull face. But what I'm looking at here, and I cannot remember exactly how this works, but the eyes are very clearly designed with something that clips into them. You can see 3 slots, and I can't remember if they're like translucent lenses that go over the eyes on this. I mean, I got to think that's what that's what we're looking at here, because this is just the singular piece that they're showing. It's not the full effect. But as awesome as this is, and I did order it with mine, or I can't remember if it was an add-on or if it was an extra, but whatever the case, I've got one coming whenever they ship. I can't imagine putting this on it though. It's awesome.
If you ever know anyone with a baby, like a newborn baby, oh, you've got to get baby Robo Skull.
I thought about trying to do I think it would be hilarious to do a Robo Skull cosplay where you wear like a black bodysuit and just make your head the Robo Skull.
Uh-huh.
I would love to see that. I'm not doing it, but I'd love to see it. All right. That is it for the news. It is time to move on. Finally. Let's just zip through those to everybody's favorite segment, the one where the Audible Army tells us what they want us to talk about. That's right. Sound off. Every Monday that we're doing a live stream, or anytime we're doing a live stream, I guess we'll probably throw this up there on Thursday as well for Snowcat specific input. Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram gets a post that says sound off, and it's because we want to hear from the Audible Army. What do you want us to talk about on the show? And first up this week, Yorktown Joe. This is from Instagram. Well, they're all from Instagram now, because the whole point of sound off is to get engagement on socials and for the show. So in Blue Sky, I'll be honest with you, we tried that experiment. Blue Sky is not worth a doodle. I don't know what word to use there. It's worthless. So we're sticking with Instagram. Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. Yorktown Joe. Do you think the Cobra Trench Viper and Modular Fort will ship this week, or has that vanished into the ether? Thank you for all you do and for the entertainment. Yo, Joe. Come on, guys.
Cobra. Well, actually, he does a short version of it. So, Cobra. Well,
what do you guys think? What's your prognostication?
It hasn't vanished into the ether, but since I didn't pre-order it, I haven't been paying attention to see if any of the shops, if any of the e-retailers have them in before Pulse. So
yeah, I haven't been tracking this one either because I also didn't order it. And that doesn't mean, like, if you ordered it and you're excited about it, awesome. It's just not something I needed in my collection. Although I did like the Trench Viper figure. I think it's pretty cool. No, it has not vanished into the ether, but I also don't know that it's shipping this week. I don't know what happened to it. And I got to say, I'm a little surprised. Noel, is it surprising to you that they showed the Joe version before this one had even shipped?
Yeah, that's a little unusual.
You'd think they would want this one in hand as kind of a proof of concept before they said, hey, we're doing a Joe version too. Like, they want this to be a hit before they said, also a Joe version.
Mm-hmm.
So Yorktown Joe, Sean Forrester is chiming in with my Pulse order says August 13th for the shipping. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for you all, and hopefully you can send us an update.
Typically, if Pulse has a date like that, it does not change this close to that date. Because I talked about a couple weeks ago that I ordered that Ghostbusters Ecto-Glow set, and it was supposed to ship on the 11th. They charged me for it last night. Now, granted, it has not shipped yet, but once they charge you for it, usually within a couple of days. Now, Pulse may not tell you it shipped, but you'll get the FedEx notice, or, well, if it's FedEx, if it's DHL, maybe it just shows up at your house 2 weeks from now. Who knows? All right. Next up, Road Pig John. Road Pig John, one of just my favorite supporters of G.I. Joe. Always has some good insight, always positive and fun. Tonight is the show when you are going to dedicate some time to talk about G.I. Joe Extreme characters and their possible inclusion in Classified. I take back everything nice I just said about Road Pig John, because I don't want to talk about Extreme. Let me give you a little backstory.
I'm trying to decipher what the rebus is down at the bottom with the emojis.
Oh, Road Pig John loves him some emojis. If you see him on his tank or on YouTube, that man loves some emojis, and it makes it more fun to look at his stuff, to be honest. So here's a little backstory on G.I. Joe Extreme. This is the 30th anniversary. 2025 is the 30th anniversary of G.I. Joe Extreme. Earlier in the year, we talked about, like, we need to do something special. I had a plan that I wanted to find some mint on card G.I. Joe Extreme products to, like, do special unboxings for. And we have now been at 2 different toy conventions where I have found mint on card G.I. Joe Extreme products, and I just don't want them. Like, I thought for novelty's sake and just to have a little something from every era of Joe, I'd be like, no, I'll find one I like enough to just grab and do. I don't want these. The original, the 95. I just don't want them. So we have delayed any kind of special GI Joe Extreme episode. I still plan. Do you guys? We should still do it, right?
We should, because
Yeah.
thanks to his question, or thanks is a very strong word. I watched some clips from Extreme because I am not as familiar with the characters. Like, I remember when it came out, and of course we all love Iron Claw.
Sure.
And
Well, and I've heard the comic is good.
the animation, keep in mind, I did not watch like a full movie or episodes, whatever it was. I was only seeing like 2-minute clips. And when you find something animation wise that makes Deke look like Sunbow,
Oh boy.
there's got to be something there. Like, is
Does
this so
there?
bad? Is it so bad it's good? Like in that 90s, what was the Looney Tunes Extreme? You know, is it in that territory, or is it, yeah, we had $10 to make this, and there, because when you talk about simplified designs compared to the toys,
Oh wow. So we'll this before the end of this year, we will do some kind of GI Joe Extreme special. But for the purpose, one, because Road Pig John is so awesome, and two, for the purposes of a sound off, we did each pick one GI Joe Extreme character that we would like to see in classified. Now, 2/3 of us, as far as I'm concerned, basically cheated, but we'll get to that. All right, Noel, you're up first because you were first responder on this.
All right. Well, I chose
cheat number one.
I don't know how this is a cheat. This is a GI Joe Extreme character. They may not have made a figure during the GI Joe Extreme era, but they did do one in the Figure Collectors Club later, and that is Steel Raven. I think she's a pretty badass looking figure, and I'd like to see this one in classified.
So you sent
if
me.
She has the sculpt of Gina Gershon like that when they make her figure, I am buying multiples.
Yeah.
So you sent me. So when I saw this question earlier today, I sent you guys a message saying, if you have the time, pick a character, send me an image. Or I just said pick a character, and Noel immediately replied with Steel Raven.
It was not immediate because I actually had typed up a different name, and then I changed it and I went with another name because I was like, but you know what? I said both of those when we actually had our discussion about our dream classified figures earlier this year, and I had a couple of extremes as a joke because I actually had what's his name?
Oh, that's
Black
right.
Dragon. Black Dragon, and I think Metalhead in my list.
That's right.
But I went with this one because, like, genuinely, that's a great looking figure.
Well, it potentially could be a great looking figure, but this image is terrible.
Well, the design.
Because when you sent the name, I Googled it and I was like, I don't see any good pictures here. I'm going to leave it up to Noel to send me a picture to use. Brett White, throw that up because now I want this figure.
Madonna Madam X classified figure.
Yes. Okay.
But
yes.
I also got to throw up Silent Interlude here with Angelina Jolie and Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, because I'm probably one of 10 people that actually enjoyed that movie.
Whoa! Brian Fabian in the super chat. What is happening? Thank you so much. We got to give a big yo Joe out to Brian Fabian, popping in the super chat. 3, 2, 1. Yo, Brian. That's awesome. And just so everybody knows, anything that comes in through the super chat all goes back into production of the show, whether it's hosting or whatever else, or merchandise or putting together stuff for live panels. Every dollar we get goes into the production of the show to make it as good as it can be. So Brian Fabian asks us, which is worse, G.I. Joe Extreme or Sigma 6? And I know my answer. Noel, what is your answer?
It's hard to say this because it's such a big big part of my job now is Six Sigma, so
Oh gosh, blah.
so it's hard to say that Sigma 6 and it feels out of order, but yeah, Sigma 6 is way worse than
Really?
Extreme. Yeah.
Oh, I don't agree with that at all. I think Extreme is much.
Yeah.
Sigma 6, I think has a lot of redeeming qualities to it, especially the toy line. If we're
I
just
think
talking toy
if
line,
Sigma 6 had been new characters and not trying to shove the old characters into it, I would think a little differently, but I just did not care for those
wow.
interpretations, and they don't get better as time goes on for me.
Kristian,
Oh,
I know. I mean, I know your answer.
I mean, extreme, because
Yeah.
I like Sigma 6. I think the
I
show
think-
has a great theme song. I like the.
Well, I'm talking about all of it. Like,
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, I definitely have come around to the figures because I do hunt them, and I still think that Shipwreck and Spirit that I have are two of the best versions of those characters.
so we
Like not
did
even close.
we did review what the first Sigma 6
Mhm.
episode or whatever. We reviewed something Sigma
I could
6.
not get through it.
Yeah.
No,
It
it wasn't good, but I haven't.
Oh.
If I have seen the G.I. Joe Extreme cartoon, I don't really remember it. But
yeah, I don't either.
I
But I
think
do remember the comic. The Extreme comic I picked up new when it came out, even though like I had, it'd been a few years since I liked G.I. Joe, but I actually really liked it. I still have the first couple of issues. Yeah.
But even if it's not your preferred cup of Joe, Sigma 6 is a fantastic toy line, and G.I. Joe Extreme is garbage.
Well, I
And
don't own any of the toys for either, so I can't comment on the toys except for their aesthetics.
So Nowhere Man Child made a comment that sort of bounces off something that Noel said that I was like, ooh, I hope we can circle back to this. Regarding Extreme, let's talk about Lieutenant Stone made a quick strike and Black Dragon. Then just pretend they're Duke, Scarlet Stalker, and Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
Who is who they are supposed to look like overall.
Yeah.
Because, yes, in taking a deeper look at the characters, when I first saw the design for Black Dragon, I was like, oh, that is so 90s. And then when I read, oh, he's a ninja and he doesn't talk. Like, you...
Well, he's just Snake Eyes, but somebody like pulled
Right.
the top of his mask up and cut it with scissors. That's
Right,
literally
like-
it.
Like, give us actual, real
He's the best
new
figure-
characters.
He's
Not...
the best figure in the whole line because he actually has sleeves.
He's a very toyetic looking figure.
That is,
Yeah,
I'll give you
especially
that.
I mean for 1995. Come on, I mean it was the as what was it, Abraham Simpson? It was the look at the time or whatever it is he says. I don't remember. It was the style at the time. Yeah, I agree. Throw Silent Interludes comment up there.
The only single thing wrong with Sergeant Savage was that the figures weren't 3 3/4 O-rings. Can't really speak to the extreme version of Sergeant Savage. And again, until today, I forgot that he was a part of it. And then as soon as I saw his name in the team roster, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah, they tried to salvage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
they were trying to make
it
him
blows
a
my
thing.
mind that they made the Sergeant Savage figures bigger. Like that still makes no sense. But we never did our Sergeant. We have covered the Sergeant Savage line, but we didn't really ever do the special episode I wanted to do last year. Maybe someday. Maybe in 2034. All right, moving on to my pick. I actually chose something from the line as it existed. And this was difficult because these figures are all terrible. But Heavy Metal version 2. 1, I would be curious to see what the classified team does with this concept. And 2, I do like the idea because this is a real military tactic of like blasting music at the enemy. So like this sort of works. Like I can kind of accept the idea that this guy is a psychological warfare type guy. Like he's at the front lines playing bolt thrower or something.
Share. Believe on. repeat
Oh, yeah,
for
you're right.
hours
You're
and
right.
hours and hours.
Yeah. Actually, that song kind of rules, though. It really does. Do you believe? But not, like, the concept of this is not completely insane. And look at that tan. He's got that hot dog tan, like a pro wrestler.
It's because he's standing outside blaring music for all these hours and
Exactly.
hours and hours. So,
Yes.
the sun's hitting him.
So I guess out of, because I just picked from what was existing in the line, and out of those, Tiny Tim, yeah.
I was thinking also that he could play "In Your Eyes" by Peter Gabriel on that.
Yes, that's even better.
Well, he's gonna play that to Mayday.
That's right.
Or whatever. But anyway, this was my pick for no other reason than sure, okay. And then Kristian's pick.
So mine was supposed to get a figure. His figure
this didn't happen?
No. So it is advertised on the back of the Wave 2 figures. But then there were 3 figures advertised on the back that never made it past this initial promo.
So this is like just a sample or something?
Correct.
I mean, what we're looking at for the listeners is Wreckage.
Yeah, so he is
awesome is what he is.
Right. So he covers a couple of things that I feel like Classified or the G.I. Joe mythos hasn't really hit yet. We all know Dave loves his Super Joe. So Wreckage
Robo
Joe, sorry, was a POW/MIA American military soldier that Iron Claw got a hold of.
Gosh, we're getting dark.
Turned him into a cyborg, hence the metal arm, the hand that's a gun, and then he has all these cybernetic wires and stuff. And then did the very classic 80s trope of look at what G.I. Joe did to you. They made you a monster and you belong with me. And so he feels like he's doing wrong, but he obviously can't counter that Winter Soldier-esque type programming. But I would love to see a kind of crazy cyborg.
Yeah, Silent Interlude just said what I was thinking. So he's Winter Soldier. He's the counterpart to Sergeant Savage's Captain America.
Yes, more or less.
But he's got that Age of Apocalypse Wolverine head.
And he has an eye patch, which we also really don't have in the line yet, besides Major Blood. So,
and Zanzibar.
And
Zanzibar have an eye patch?
Well, but he's not. Zanzibar hasn't made it into the line yet.
So between Wreckage, Zanzibar, Steel Raven, Major Blood, this is like the AEW of G.I. Joe figures. There's this period in AEW where like everybody had an eye patch for like a year. It was really weird.
And I like the clips, because it was really hard to find a good picture of him. But the few animated clips that I saw of him, none of them were full body, but he is drawn like he is almost the size of the Hulk. Whoa. Next to the Extreme folks. Now, again, I don't know if that's bad animating or if there's just more to his story that we don't know.
Yeah. Well, this is, out of all 3 that we chose, this is the winner to me. This is the one that's the most interesting, that I'd most like to see classified. Steel Raven would be number 2, and my pick would be a distant third.
What was the name of the Cobra agent that had the Irish character? Why can't I think of her name? She was also released in the figure collector series a few years back, but she also had an eye patch.
I don't know.
I'm drawing a blank.
Then they had the male counterpart was Coils of Doom, but I can't remember her name right now.
I don't know.
Mark Harkness says, amazing the things Ironclaw picked up at the OCP fire sale.
Oh, you get points for a RoboCop reference. Well done. All right, moving on. Tweet Joe Self, which I like that name. I get it. It's solid. Classified is easily my favorite collection as an adult collector for 30 years now. Needless to say, the products have not always been home runs. It's true. They've gone back and given us much more incredible versions of the likes of Duke, Scarlet, and Firefly. What's one or even two do-overs you'd like to see in the future? Anyone other than Falcon, of course. I'd like to see a retro barbecue with alternate unmasked head and a retro version 2 roadblock with an alternate head with whiteout eyes. Thanks, and yo, Joe. First of all, those are two good calls. Like retro, we've talked a little bit about retro barbecue and how, like, he could be on a smaller buck. He could have the removable helmet. Like, as happy as I am with that original barbecue, I do think they could take another shot at him.
A little bit brighter color,
Yeah.
I think, too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just make them pop a little bit more.
And then version 2 roadblock, I think would be a mainline release. I don't think it would be a retro card back. I think that's a mainline release waiting to happen. But the alternate head with whiteout eyes, I mean, I think that's a given at this point. With the Once Man Cobra Commander already having been released.
Yeah, I said these just says do-overs. These don't necessarily have to be retro carded versions.
Yeah, and he mentions Firefly. Quite frankly, Firefly needs a do-over because that figure, the second version of it that was supposed to be more retro styled was so janky. I think there's room to improve that Firefly. Road Pig John is here. You missed us addressing your question, but that's okay. You can catch it on the replay. So my first pick is actually they need to take another stab at Firefly. But also I will say Lady J and Baroness. We know they've got the buck, for Baroness with the Rattler. We need a standard Baroness that's an update from the Blackout version. But also Lady J, we really don't have a satisfying Lady J figure yet. I would like to see one that's just a bit less petite.
But the question is, do we need another Lady J figure in the line because the other ones warmed shelves for so long?
Well, we do need another one, but whether or not they'll make it, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to get one in more traditional Sunbow colors with the the brighter,
with a different colored top and
lighter
trousers.
Yeah.
And
the weapons.
But it needs to be completely new tooling.
Yeah.
Don't use any parts from the other Lady J figures.
So I'm going to throw up a few of the listeners, and then I'm going to give mine. So Brian Hoffman would like to see pinless Cobra infantry.
Oh my gosh, yes. Just use the Stalker body.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it for months. We need an actual retro Cobra infantry using that Stalker or that Snake Eyes body. Just make it blue, slap a Cobra on the chest, put it out.
Yep. Nowhere Man Child chimes in with Dusty because the first one missed the mark.
So that's weird because it did, but also, what do? How do they make it better?
I do want soft goods for the helmet, but that's just
me.
I
agree, but that's like such a tiny aspect of it.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine getting another Dusty and thinking, oh, well, now they nailed it. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
I can't put my finger on it.
He's one of my least favorite classified figures that I own, but at the same time, I just don't know if it's worth getting another version of him out.
For me, I think he suffers from the same issue that Retro Recondo does in my eyes, is that I had no interest in getting Tiger Force Dusty. But then, when he was on ultra clearance at Target and I snagged one, I was like, oh, he pops on the shelf.
I do prefer that.
Tiger Force Recondo is the same way. Whereas I think the characters that are just in khaki and brown just kind of fade away in all the other colors.
Now, see, for me, I do prefer the Tiger Force Recondo, but the retro Cardback Recondo is just as essential to me. Whereas Dusty, like I said, I just can't put my finger on it, but it's just not a satisfying figure.
Wreckship 85 would like to see more oops, wait, that was not the one that you said. Here we go. I wouldn't hate seeing more Pursuit of Cobra renditions of the characters.
We need 73 accessories with every figure.
So
you could do the Dusty V3 with the beret and the
And I think we'll
those
probably
sleeves.
see that before we'll see the original Dusty's design revisited.
Unfortunately, though, that's going to wind up being a pet figure, which means it's going to be $45.
Right.
But what kind of what kind of accessories are you going to give him to justify that price? Because it's a coyote; they're very small.
I don't know.
You could give him.
I'll tell you this: whatever those accessories are, we've already seen them in the line.
Yeah.
You could give him the Snap-on rabies drool, because growing up on a farm, coyotes equal rabies. So for my pick, I actually still don't think we have a good Zartan. I want a legit Zartan with the clear chest piece.
Yeah.
I want, I want him to look more like the original toy.
For me, I do think we've got a good Zartan, but I don't think we yet have a satisfying Zartan.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I think the retro card one is my favorite one they released. Well, I don't have Master of Disguise, but
no, I agree though. I've got all of them, and I agree that the retro card to me is my favorite that they've done.
Yeah, but I would like to see just anything that's 82, and they'll probably get around to it. But like, I'd like to see all those as retro versions that are like Grunt. We definitely need like a retro Grunt that is just very stripped down. Like not like modern real world version of Grunt, but you know what? Just that troop builder we got, not troop builder, but troop builder looking guy we got back in '80s.
Make him look like an angry old man.
Well, and they do have that green shirt figure coming out before the end of the year that's potentially very adaptable to a lot of the 82 stuff.
So White Vegeta says I would expect a true Jinx and a classic Major Blood, and that Major Blood is one I am surprised that we have not gotten yet.
Yeah, I'm really shocked that we got this kind of weird repaint of Major Blood before getting a version that's a little more true to the original.
I mean, I love the first Major Blood figure. It's one of my favorite classified takes on a character.
If I were going, I love that figure. If I were going to repaint it, I would not have done what they did with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There are other things I would have done with it before that. But I'm curious to see that one in person. All right. Scott Stripling Art, with the success of Cold Slither, Cobra Law, and the G.I. Joe the movie figures, how long until we get Battle Force 2000? First of all, I do not understand what kind of equivalency you're trying to draw between three of the most best-known things in G.I. Joe and Battle Force 2000.
It's all 87.
It is all 87. I actually really have fondness for them, being at the end of my childhood collecting of G.I. Joes. So famously, within the Audible Army, Battle Force 2000 is what killed G.I. Joe for me. But I honestly wonder, there are two things that popped into my head when I read this. One, Battle Force 2000, the vehicles were such an important component of that whole concept.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the figures obviously do have very distinctive and interesting designs that would translate well in classified. But the whole point was the fortress thing. That was, granted, a big hunk of garbage, but that was the point of the concept.
Yeah.
But also, I wonder, with as Sunbow-centric as the classified team seems to be, I wonder if this is even on their radar. Like, what are Lenny and Tony's awareness of this even?
I would think they are, because I honestly, in my gut, do think before the line is over, we will have a Dodger figure.
Oh, for sure. No, they're going to get to Battle Force 2000.
Well, I'm just saying, even
point.
if they don't do vehicles, even if they don't do any of the others, just because he also had like a Sonic fighter, if I remember correctly. Like,
he's the green one with the short sleeves, right? Is that right?
Yeah. And like the umpire looking helmet. But I feel like we'll definitely get him.
I mean, we'll get them all if the line continues long enough.
And maybe DJ.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this is a concept that they would deem, because it is a team and because there are 6, 7, 8. How many characters are there in this? Because DJ was later, right?
Yeah, in the initial line, there were 6.
6.
Yeah,
so there's
6
seven total characters. I don't know if they look at this as, oh, Battle Force 2000, we make this a thing, or if it would just be kind of like they've done with Iron Grenadiers, where they're like, oh, well, we'll dribble these out, one a year for a few years. I don't know. I don't know how they would view this, but I do think you're right.
Exclusive, baby.
I don't know. I don't see this as because these characters are specific. I don't see this as being like a subline that's a retailer exclusive or anything like that. I see it, like I said, as Iron Grenadiers, where it would just be within the main line every once in a while. But I don't know how long until we see the first one.
So pulling up from the chat real quick, Brett White with Battle Force 2000 was the start of my collection.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
as we have discovered, Brett White is a good bit younger than we are.
And this one, I'm still trying to wrap my brain around. Silent Interlude says, technically, Goldhead Destro and the Iron Grenadier were Battle Force 2000.
Well, they were marketed as the opposition to Battle Force 2000.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and 88 was they were supposed to be the rivals of one another. It was kind of like Tiger Force versus Python Patrol.
Wait, I thought, wasn't Battle Force 2087?
It was, but they continued in 88 and they put the Iron Grenadiers up against them.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, that quite frankly, that lessens the Iron Grenadiers to me. Who killed all of Battle Force 2000?
Wasn't that
they all got killed, right?
Was the Survivor?
Well, I know a few of them were in the pit with.
No, that was they got blown up in some. Yeah,
right, like this Larry Hama,
the same person that's killed all of the Joes.
Yeah.
They got blown up in, like, Cobra was trying to take over oil fields or something in some country, and Battle Force 2000 like all got blown up at once. I can't remember exactly what happened. Anyway, let's move on. We gotta keep going here. Third wave sabotage. Oh boy, I wish this one hurt my heart a little bit because I have nothing. Any creative display ideas to save space? I just hung up most of my Real American Hero planes and helicopters, and that opened up a bunch of shelf space. Other ideas? Thanks, fellas. Woo! This is tough because, no, I mean, you really nailed the only one I have. Is anything that's an aerial vehicle or troop or whatever, hang it from the ceiling. Other than that, man, I don't know. If you're talking Real American Hero, because my pat answer is don't use stands, because they take up too much space and they make your display look like garbage. But Real American Hero, you kind of have to use those battle stands. So, I mean, risers make your collection look better, but don't really do anything for space.
No, as a matter of
I
fact, they
got
take
nothing.
away your space because you wind up having to fit on the width of that. So, like, because I've got the risers for all my figures, but they can only go like 4 characters deep because of them instead of like the 6 they could if they weren't on risers. So they do take
see,
up more space.
I've got I got these expandable risers from the Container Store, and you make them as big as you need them to be.
Well, mind you that they go as wide as I want, but the depth of each stair on the riser is fixed. So it's like, an inch and a half.
These are like just over the depth of a battle stand. So these aren't taking up more space than the figures would. It's just that you can actually see all the figures because they're elevated. But again, even with that, it doesn't save space.
No.
I don't know. Anybody in the chat?
And it actually takes up space because then you have to have your shelves, further apart. So
the shelves I've got them on are this far apart anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I've mentioned it many times, but I am in the same boat as our good friend Brett. I rotate out displays
and
display everything at once. In my old house, where I had like 2 rooms dedicated to just toys, yes, I could have everything out. But in the new small house, that is not the case. So
put up Brett White's, not the last comment, but the one before it.
If you hang them from the ceiling, aren't you just seeing the bottom of a cool vehicle?
Not if you bank them.
Not if you're 6'4".
Well, that's true too.
Well, I thought Noel did it just to prove that there is a bottom.
That's right.
To
while Noel doesn't care about backs, he does enjoy a good bottom.
Look, I like me some landing gear. What can I say?
So yeah,
although the landing gear is not down because they're all in flight. So
Rexship says easiest way to save space, sell stuff off.
Well, yeah, I mean, look,
I used to say that too, but apparently when you try to sell kids or spouses, people frown on that.
Yeah, my wife didn't like it when I tried to get rid of the sofa.
I mentioned earlier that whole table back there. I am keeping a lot of my wrestling figures, but they're going in totes. But I'm selling a bunch of wrestling figures because I'm used all of my classified, which you can't really see from here, is going into the space that was formerly occupied by the wrestling figures because you got to make choices.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out because I've got.
I don't want to spend money building an addition to my house when I could be buying more toys with that money.
No. You're missing. See, Silent Interlude said, build an addition to your house. Now, if you listen to our last audio episode, you know that Noel's pick for Let's Go Ring was Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Over the years, in my storage unit, I have been saving the occasional fruitcake that I get. So I do plan on one day building a room out of fruitcake.
See, here's my problem, and this is what limits me, is if you can see behind me right there.
Yeah.
Lego storage takes up so much space. I have plastic bins all throughout this room, and I'm out of room for them too.
I believe this goes to Noel. Hoffman says you can't get rid of my old sofa.
No, I'm getting rid of that old sofa at some point because it's falling apart.
If Fruitcake by Fred Schneider and the Superions is not the first song you listen to in the holiday season, then I don't know what you're even doing with your life. And then Last Christmas better be number 2.
Last Christmas is 12:01 a.m. on December 1st every year.
There you go.
So Nowhere Man Child, I've seen these pieces on eBay a lot. He says, I keep my Rattler and Tiger Cat and Millennium Falcon on the wall so I see the tops of them. They look cool and can be removed easily. So I've always been curious about those because, like I said, I see the
there
the
are people
custom
who
pieces to hang them on walls,
Yeah.
but I've never known anyone who actually did it.
Yeah, I've seen the custom hangers, and those are really cool. Like the fact that someone designed one that just specifically holds that vehicle.
But then you're taking up this much wall space that could be like figures or other things.
Yeah, it could be
for
shelves.
this vehicle. Like that just for me, that I don't get that. But it depends on what you collect and how you collect it. All right, moving on. New input, new Audible Army member, SL Polk 21. With the prevalence of toy companies doing crossover lines, is there a non-Hasbro property you would like to see G.I. Joe crossover with? Now, we have talked about this concept a few times in the past, but as with everything, we have new answers every day for this kind of stuff. So, Kristian, have you got something specific here?
To be honest, and this is probably not the answer that anyone wants to hear,
Huh?
I am so burned out on all of the
Oh.
crossover stuff. Not that I've been getting it. It just seems like that's the only things that keep getting announced. And hey, good for the Ninja Turtles to keep reinventing the wheel. But I could not think of any because I was like, nothing that I would spend money on right now that isn't already a Hasbro property.
Look, I get what you're saying because the Masters Universe Thundercats should have been a slam dunk for me. And I just, in the end, I was like, you know what? I don't need them. I don't need them. Noel, is there anything you'd like to see?
I mean, there's a couple of funny answers I've thought about for this, but I will say this: after our Bullet Man discussion last week, I want to see a Peacemaker figure in G.I. Joe. Get our John Cena in there.
Oh, that would be great. I would love that. That would take some doing though, because now that Mattel is DC is moving to Mattel. But we've got a little Mattel Hasbro synergy going on lately, so and that would be cool. That would be very cool.
So our good pal Tom Henry would like to see Airwolf,
of course,
to go against a Fang.
But I'll tell you, like Airwolf, I want an O-ring, like a 1/18 scale Airwolf. I don't want a classified Airwolf. Throw that in the trash. I want
some O-ring. I need an O-ring Jan Michael Vincent and Laura, what's his name?
Ernest
Bring that into like a retro line of some kind. I don't want it in classified though. No more vehicles in classified.
And White Vegeta, I'm going to skip the first part here, but I'm going to go straight to he wants Spiral Zone.
I love that. That would be great. Because I've been obsessed with Spiral Zone my entire life. I've never owned a single Spiral Zone toy. I loved the cartoon, what I could see of it, because I believe it was USA Sunday Morning, so it was tough for me to see. But I am obsessed with Spiral Zone. If we could get that in classified, or anybody pick it. Look, Nacelle Toys is picking up every bizarro, weirdo concept from the 80s. Let's grab some Spiral Zone. I'm into it.
Okay, so Mark Harkness, there's an anime called You're Under Arrest about Japanese police women who nitro their Honda police car. They'd have fun chasing the Dreadnoks. For all our Transformer pals out there, if we get G.I. Joe Kiss, not Kiss the rock band, but like in Japan where they had the Transformers who got their ability to transform only when cute anime girls gave them a
talk about
kiss?
this on the show before. Didn't I put a ban on this?
Possibly.
Oh my gosh.
But also Brett White coming in with Heart to Heart O-Ring 2-pack. Heck yes.
Heart to Heart, Moonlighting, Simon and Simon. Oh my gosh.
DJ and the Bear.
Yeah, let's just mind
I want an
the
O-ring
80s.
orangutan.
Look, I want to start a Super 7 adjacent company that gets all the licenses that Super 7 is like, come on, seriously? Let's
But
go.
I think I would rather see BJ and the bear in mask.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm a chimpanzee. I was thinking of every which
Every Which Way
Clint
But
Eastwood
Loose,
movie.
the Clint
Yeah.
Eastwood one, yeah. All right. So mine is a little cheaty because I didn't pick a toy property, but it's something that G.I. Joe has crossed over with. The G.I. Joe Danger Girl crossover comic series was surprisingly great. I say surprisingly. I'm a fan of Danger. I mean, I've got a freaking Danger Girl tattoo on my arm. Like, I'm a big fan of Danger Girl, but you just, you never know how those things are going to go. I would love to see Danger Girl classified series figures. That would be perfect. It'd be great. So that was my pick, even though I think it's not really in the spirit of what was being asked. That's what I'd like to see.
It fits.
All right. Podcast from the Pit. Everybody check out Podcast from the Pit. They're very often live, really, really early on Saturday mornings. But check them out. Podcast from the Pit. Just a question other than Joe, what is another toy line that you love and actively collect, if any? Thanks. Have a great show. We are having a great show. I'll start this time. I mean, look, you can look around and see I have no self-control whatsoever. I collect tons of toy lines, but in thinking about this, like, out of all of the stuff that I collect, if there was one, like, if somebody said, hey, you can collect G.I. Joe and really only one other thing, I think the thing I couldn't give up would be my horror toys, and that's not really a toy line, but I mean, maybe NECA, I don't know, but my horror toy collection is probably my second favorite after G.I. Joe. Like, that's the big thing that just keeps going year after year after year and has had the longevity in the same way as well. What about you, Noel? I mean, well, we kind of know, but
Yeah, well, I mean, there's really nothing else that I collect as regularly. Like, I don't really buy new Transformers very often. So I mean, I guess I did buy a couple of things. I bought the one of the Hot Wheels Transformers crossovers that came out that they released around the time of Comic Con. I don't buy as much Lego as I used to, just mainly because I don't have time to build, and there's just not as much. I just don't have space for it all. But I did buy like the Soundwave. I buy, some of the bigger modular sets every now and then, and I'll buy stuff when I find it on clearance. So I'd say Lego is number 2 for me still, even though I'm not into it the same way I was like 5 years ago. Like,
Kristian?
COVID was a big Lego period for me, but
yeah, right.
yeah, that's also before we had Classified, and I really started collecting O-ring figures again. Some guy made me start doing a podcast with him that made me start buying G.I. Joe again.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Dave because besides G.I. Joe, I still do vintage collection Star Wars, but I limit it to characters now that haven't been made before.
And that's where I am.
Which
means you buy like 3 figures a year.
True.
It's easy to keep.
But I also do Star Wars Black. I do Super 7, Monster Force. I would say my favorites right now, outside of G.I. Joe, would be Monster Force, Animal Warriors of the Kingdom by Spiro, and it hurts the wallet, but Mythic Legions.
Oh yeah,
those are some great made figures.
I've had to exercise so much self-control for a lot of the Four Horsemen stuff, especially the Cosmic Legions. Once they started doing those, like, a lot of those designs really hit me, and we've seen them in person at like Joe Fest and stuff, and it's really difficult for me to not buy them, but I just can't. I can't. All right, let's see. Do we have is this? Yeah, we got one more. Tom, of course.
No,
Henry. Oh no, we've got
we have
more.
two more.
But from
Yeah.
Standard. Okay, Tom Henry with quite frankly the most obnoxious sound off we've ever gotten in the history of the show. Can someone explain the appeal of Cold Slither to me? And I read this in my mind in the voice of the most annoying person on the planet. So like in my mind, this question was read in the voice of Anthony Jeselnik. Can someone explain the appeal of Cold Slither to me? I feel like it's my own personal little Sebastian. First of all, you shut your mouth about little Sebastian. The audacity to come on this show and question the validity of little Sebastian? Oh, Tom Henry, I hope you never get your fang. I will personally give up owning a classified fang just so you never get it with what you the disrespect that you're displaying.
Wait, hear me out. Classified little Sebastian.
Yes, let's
classified
go.
Ron Swanson with tears rolling down his face.
And a classified lady from Letters from Cleo. That's the follow-up I want. Forget the Average Joe band. Next year, I want a Letters from Cleo set in classified. We're done with this conversation. All right, anyway. So, no, look, the appeal of Cold Slither, I get it. Not everybody's into it. First of all, not everybody loves Sunbow. Not everybody has the same value and nostalgia for that. For me, the appeal of Cold Slither is one, just that it is like this great thing from my childhood, this part of Sunbow. Now, as I said many times, though, I don't want this Sunbow stuff in classified for the most part, but this set seemed like such a special thing. I wanted to get it, but Cold Slither in general, for me, I believe it's the first time that I became aware of subliminal messaging. And I think it's that subliminal messaging that's responsible for making us all love Cold Slither. But no, seriously, I do think that's where that concept came from, and it's always fascinated me. Like so many, we go back to those cartoons that we were watching when we were like 8, 9, 10 years old, and we learned a lot of like real concepts from those things, and that was where that came from for me. And also, just as a fan of metal, I love the Dreadnoks, I love Zartan, like all of those things coming together. I just think it's a really fun concept and a fun story. So that's where it hits for me.
Yeah, and mine's not much different. It was one of those cartoon episodes that stood out to me a lot more than a lot of the other Sunbow stuff. I loved, because that music for Cold Slither existed already in the Sunbow universe,
right?
And just hearing it suddenly have lyrics, and then you go back and you watch an episode of Transformers or G.I. Joe, and you hear it in the background, you're like, it's Cold Slither. I always loved doing that. But yeah, also I was a big Dreadnoks fan. Like they were special to me. So an episode that's Dreadnought centric is always going to be among my favorites.
Well, and the fact that they end up behaving like poorly behaved bands of the era is also really fun. Like it's a very well written episode, in my opinion.
Yeah, so growing up in the churches that I did, having people talk to you about subliminal messaging and the evils of rock and roll was a very common occurrence. And
Southern Baptist.
Exactly. I don't think that my real appreciation for the episode happened until after Gem and the Holograms. When I discovered Gem, and it was this, cartoon, you had rock bands, you had a girl pop band. Then eventually when I saw the Cold Slither episode again, it gave me a totally different appreciation for it. But also, I know Brett White said we're outing ourselves here, but I am the generation of when MTV started.
Yeah.
So it was a big deal to come home after school and have, before MTV kicked off, to have like a half-hour program that showed music videos. I feel like music back then was way more of that kind of experience for me than it is now. Like, so to me, the Cold Slither that exists now, it's honestly just the look of the figures. Like, I haven't been able to open my set yet, but before the podcast, I had it open and I just kept looking at Torch and Ripper, and I was like, this design is just so good.
I love the way it looking. I don't think I'm going to take mine out of the package. I just love the way that the
It displays
package
really
unfolds and it
nicely.
displays.
I know it
Yeah.
makes me a little upset that they didn't plan for the package to be able to be open, because looking at it, I'm like, they need, like, you should have been able to have had cardboard inserts that you could fold into those giant speakers. If I had stuff like that, I would definitely take them out. I'm still contemplating it because I cleared one of my shelves for them.
Well, they get their own spot. Jump up to the first comment from 6'10" Yojo Daddy.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? First time here. Y'all smash that like button and subscribe if you enjoy the content to thank the fellas for the entertainment.
Thank you for showing up. 6'10" Yojo Daddy, possibly the most impressive name out of many, many impressive names that we've seen here in the chat. Thank you for coming out and hanging out with us. We appreciate it.
But I also want to throw up his second comment here. I'll say this. Cold Slither wasn't that big of a deal to me, just another part of the cartoon. But in hand, they are the most fun figures I've gotten this year. And for the folks... Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Well, I was going to say, it's just nice to have almost a little side quest from Classified. Like, they are just straight up fun figures. You don't really have to think about, like, oh, how are these going to engage with the rest of my shelf? It's just, let me pose them like the most obnoxious band in the world, and then they get their own spot. And you don't have to worry about mixing them in or anything like that.
I can't help but every time I look at Buzzer's head sculpt, because I was like, why did we do this again where Ripper and Buzzer have loose glasses, Torch has sculpted glasses, but Buzzer has a bald head with a mohawk insert. Are we potentially getting our Ninja Force Zartan from that head sculpt?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they'll reuse any of these. But we'll get a Ninja Force Zartan at some point, but it won't be that
with portrait. That smile. Like,
I don't think so. All right. So, any more thoughts about Cold Slither while we're talking about it? Because it is definitely time to move on. All right. That brings us to the final segment of the show, one that we like to call Joe and Tell, where we each have a little something we're going to show up on the camera and tell a story about. It may be a current toy. It may be something we've gotten recently. It could be just something from our collection we want to talk about. Noel, do you want to kick off Joe and Tell this time around?
Sure. And this will be the conclusion that I did not get to do last time because I went for the Rattler. But I know Joe Fest was like almost 2 months ago at this point in time, but I've been, I was sharing haul stuff. I still have stuff that's been sitting here on this desk now for a month and a half, just because I was, going to eventually share it. So just a few more things that I picked up. I know I showed a bunch of my favorites not too long ago. Last year I was looking for a Cobra Adder. And so
they're hard to find because somebody buys all of them.
Yes, a particular vendor, Todd from Destro's Toy Den, will buy every one that he finds at a reasonable price. But I found one at a really good price, and I was like, oh, I'm surprised that I got to it before him. Went by and I saw him and I said, hey, look what I found. Well, then I found another vendor who had one for even cheaper. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to have to just double gloat. So I had to pick up a couple of adders. This is 88, so it's out of my usual collector's realm.
Yeah, but it's a neat little vehicle for the right
It
price.
is. It's a very neat little vehicle, and it's just kind of fun to have more stuff like that around. We talked about them before, but I mentioned that I was like, well, I got my Tiger Force collection pretty complete, so I had to get some Python Patrol. But I also, we've talked about them already tonight. I picked up the first of the Battle Force 2000.
Oh,
Yes!
uh-oh.
So
Oh, man.
I got this guy right
You
here.
broke the seal.
And then, yeah, I had to pick up. So these two
Wow.
right here have been added to my collection. I was looking at. Fortunately, I'm not as fixated on completing this as quickly as I am some others. But
Sure.
so if I find deals on the rest, I will continue to add more Battle Force 2000 to my collection.
I cannot wait for you to put Fortress 2000 or whatever it's called together and be so disappointed anew.
I am kind of excited about that moment when it finally
Sure.
happens. Oh yeah, one of my adders came with its blueprints.
Oh, nice.
So that
Okay.
was nice to have. And then finally, this is just one last thing. that I
Noel's
picked
blowing
up.
through like a month of Joe and Tell in one shot.
Well, I got I didn't want to do each one of these individually. I picked up a lot of stuff at Joe Fest. This, however, was something that I have been trying to get my hands on for a while. And I mentioned before, I had there's a vendor that I found a Stinger.
Oh, yeah.
That had
With
the two
two
figures.
drivers.
Yeah, the next day I went back and he had this, and so this is it's hard to see because she's in this little plastic baggie. But this Zorana, the one without the earrings, is one that is hard. It's a lot harder to find. I've never had one in my collection, or I guess this is the one with the earrings. Never mind. But yeah, so I wound up picking her up and got a very good deal on this one, who is complete and it still has the original card.
Cardback,
yeah. So nice to have that. So yeah, I'll add her to my collection as well. I'll probably just have two Zoranas hanging out next to each other. On my Dreadnought shelf.
Very nice.
So yeah, that for now at least, unless there's something else that I don't realize I missed, concludes my Joe Fest sharing for 2025.
All right. Kristian, what you
Well,
got?
Real quick, no, Mark Harkness says 2 adders listed under extensive enterprise insurance list. Yes, gentlemen, $15,000 or $15,000 accounting machines. All right, so I get to pull a Dave this episode.
Oh boy!
And do an unboxing of something that showed up in the mail today. But for future eBayers that I do business with, please let me make this very clear. If you send figures like this, that is the easiest way to not get any feedback from me. I won't do negative, but
what do you mean? In a bag?
Small figures, okay. But when the bag is this puffy, I just don't want a figure to show up.
Is there
broken.
Bubble wrap in there?
There is, and the lovely smell of, I think, menthol cigarettes.
Oh,
maybe.
Boo!
Yeah.
As long as there's enough bubble wrap, I don't care if it's shipped in a bag. As a matter of fact, I ship stuff in bags all the time. I wrap it up really well.
Enough bubble wrap.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys can't see the endless supply of bubble wrap, but
of like looks like smoke yellowed bubble wrap.
Yes.
Oh, look at this guy.
But I now own a Mike Atomic.
Nice.
And got a scary good deal on him, I think, because the person did not know what they had.
Does he reek though?
There is the cigarette smell, so he's going to get a good thorough washing, but he still has his, I don't know if you can see it, but his light piped eye. And it's of it. He just doesn't have shoes. I mean, and surprisingly, for as much as he smells, he's not overtly dirty.
Yeah, he looks good.
Like, he's surprisingly clean, but he's still going to need a good washing to.
Well, and the soft goods are what going to retain probably the worst of that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because if you recall, Noel, my collection was out in our garage in the old house for years where I would smoke, and no matter the washing, those 12-inch Joes I've got still
Well,
it's
I
in the
used to
it's in the
get
plastic.
like I'd go find Lego in just like loose Lego in bins. Oh, that's probably my best find this week. I should have shared that with some loose Lego. I just happened to find on the side of the road the other day. But like it would come from a smoking household, and you would not think that ABS plastic would retain. Like you
It
could wash that stuff 3 times,
does.
and
So
it just
there's
never come
Yeah.
out.
there is a company online for any of our listeners that are concerned about figures that they have that smell like smoke. It's dollyhair.com. They make hair for people that do custom dolls or My Little Pony restorations, and they also sell scent bottles, right? If you want to customize strawberry shortcake dolls. But one of the items that they have is a wash that is specifically for removing
Really
cigarette smell.
interesting.
I mean, it's a small
Dollyhair.com.
bottle,
Sure.
so you do end up going through it. Like one
Yeah.
bottle is one figure.
Oh boy.
But it has worked for me in the past. So
All right. Well, that brings us to my Joe and Tell, which is not Joe, but could be if your imagination is good enough. This review is going up on the Needless Things YouTube channel on Wednesday, and it is the new Fright Zone playset for Masters of the Universe Origins. And I say, this could easily be a Dreadnought layer or Cobra La or whatever you want it to be. This thing, and normally I wouldn't show something like this on Joe and Tell, but this is awesome. And when I said earlier that now I like even more so want that snake layer, like this is why. Because this is such a well done play set. Like the throne actually has a slit here so Hordak's cape can go into it so he can sit down.
nice.
But like it's just awesome. I wish we could get something like this for Joe. I would love to see, not necessarily in classified, but like if Super 7 could do stuff like this for Reaction Plus, it would just be so cool. So this set's awesome. The review goes up on Wednesday. Check it out. And it also came with this crazy guy who is way bigger than I thought he was going to be. This is to replace the glove puppet that came with the original Fright Zone. It's actually, a full figure that's larger than either of the cats that have come out. But anyway, it's awesome. I'm so excited about this thing. It's a very nice piece.
That's
and
cool. The glove puppet was my favorite part of that set as a kid.
Yeah, and I like I do. On the one hand, I kind of regret that they got rid of the glove puppet, but on the other hand, that creature is so good. So anyway, full review goes up on Wednesday here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. And with that, that's all the show we got for you this week. Our music is by Andy Sanford of electricminnowmusic.com. Follow us on Instagram at Audible Interlude Podcast. Join the Audible Army Facebook group. Remember to share our posts on your socials. Kristian, where can we find that toy photography you do so well?
You can find me on Instagram and still on Blue Sky under the name Legion Cub.
And Noel, tell us a little bit about The Finest.
The Finest is an international G.I. Joe costuming club that raises money for a wonderful charity called Canines for Warriors. Check out thefinestcc.com or the Finest Recruitment Center on Facebook. And you can find us at Joe Lanta. We will have a booth there. Our Southern Command, our Georgia Garrison, will be hosting there. So stop by, pick up some cool swag, and talk some Joe with us.
Be sure and come back Thursday night at 11 p.m. That's August 14th. We will be doing a countdown to the Snowcat's closure. 11 p.m. to midnight, we'll be talking about the Snowcat and following the numbers. And then after that, August the 25th will be our next regular live stream. Until then, Yo, Joe.
Adder.
Double adder? What does it mean?